Managerial economics is about the way managers make decisions using an economics perspective. This course is somewhat similar to a Principles of Economics course, except that the focus is entirely on how managers are making decisions. Sometimes managers use information they have about customers to make decisions, and other times they don't have the information, so they do the best they can. In the Principles of Microeconomics course, we will discuss, or we generally discuss, how the consumer makes his or her own decision about making a choice. In this course, we assume that the manager cannot get into the consumer's head, but will use whatever information they have to help them make a decision about the consumer's behavior. So, entirely from the first day of class, you're encouraged to put on your manager's hat and think like a manager. Ask questions that a manager would ask about a customer. We will spend the first portion of the course discussing the aspects of the demand function, what determines the consumer demand from the manager's perspective. So the first part of the course focuses on external factors. The second part focuses on internal factors. And the third part of the course focuses on strategic decision making. And the third part of the course will pretty much be centered around game theory and game theoretic ideas. The third part of the course is usually the easiest part for the students because they bring together knowledge from other fields after you've put all the fundamentals of economics in place. So I usually divide the course into 3 segments. The first segment ends with a midterm discussing demand. The second section ends with a midterm discussing how firms make internal decisions. And the third focuses on the big picture, how firms compete with other firms in various market structures. There are a few other topics that are not explicit to the textbook that I'd like to bring into the course because I think that we should be able to go beyond the textbook and show that we are understanding what is going on in the real world around us. So there are a couple of other cases that I'd like to bring into the course to help with our understanding beyond the course. I should also mention that this course counts for critical thinking in the business school, critical thinking from the university's perspective. So this course meets critical thinking for the business school's accreditation, and it also meets critical thinking for the university's general education assessment. One other thing I should mention is that all homework assignments must be uploaded to Moodle before class. 10 minutes before class or 20 minutes before class, every assignment will be due. And generally, the assignment is an effort grade. I need for you to attempt the assignment, hopefully complete the assignment, and bring your copy of the assignment to class, because the first thing we will do, or one of the first things we will do, is to go over that homework assignment. In other words, I would like for you to look at the material before you come to class with a sense of what we're going to be talking about, and use that knowledge to ask good questions and to fill in gaps in your knowledge. So we start with the video segments on American Airlines, and this was a documentary that CNBC put together several years ago. I concede that it is getting to be a little dated, but the knowledge is the same, and whether you use a 2017 documentary or a 2007 documentary, the learning is the same, so that does not do anything to affect the quality of the instruction. One thing that's important for me to tell students is that I have a no technology policy in my classroom. I've had this policy ever since people started having cellular phones, because many years ago I realized that students could allow themselves to be distracted by the technology. This was back in the day when the cell phone was a flip phone. Now with smartphones that are pretty much computers in our pockets, I definitely have to continue with my policy because the students can so easily come to class and be not present mentally. Therefore, I have a no technology policy. No computers, no phones, nothing more than a calculator, because you come to class to give your best effort in class, and the respectful thing to do is to leave your phone away from the classroom. I know that will not probably happen, but actually there's research that says Students perform best if their phone is nowhere near them. So one experiment that was done, and I have this on the Moodle page, students had their phones, 3 groups of students, taking a test. One group had their phones on their desks in front of them. Another group had their phones in their bags next to them. And the third group had their phones in their cars or not present at all. The students whose phones were nowhere present did best, and those with the phones sitting in front of them did worst, even if they did not touch the phone. What is surprising is that the students whose phones were in their bags also did not so well, because there's some phenomenon called phantom signaling or phantom notifications. And sometimes you think your phone is ringing when it's not ringing. So just having it in your presence, you can start to think about the phone because you think you hear it sending you a signal that's not actually sending you. So that's sad that the phone that is present in your bag could worsen your performance. The same way the phone in front of you can worsen your performance. So anyway, that's me holding on to an old school policy. I should tell you I've been teaching college since 1982, so that's 35 years, and I've seen a lot. I can remember well the days before technology that we have, and your generation has grown up with this technology. But sadly, I'm not willing to have this technology present because I know it does not help. It does not help, and even if your other instructors are okay with it, you should be forewarned that there's no technology in my class. I should say that for a while now I've been audio recording the classes that I teach, and if you want a sample of what the first lecture may have sounded like at some point in the past semester, that will be available for you to listen to. The topic will be the same topic pretty much, and therefore if you want a preview of what the first class is going to be like, then listening to that audio recording might not be a bad thing. I should tell you that the quality is not always good because my recorder is very tiny. It's on the front desk in the classroom, and often you can't hear the student in the back of the room because there's no amplification. And sometimes if I turn my head to look at the board, the quality of the audio will go down, but these are minor things if you want the big picture. Generally, there'll be enough documentation so that you can work your way through pretty much every topic. I will say that I probably have video recordings for almost all topics in the course, so that you should be able to watch a video lecture or listen to a video lecture with me pointing to stuff. That should get you through the first part of the course without too much difficulty. So, knowing a little bit about airlines will not hurt you in the first part of the course. Almost all of the questions will be airline industry related, just to keep things on the same track. A few of them will be McDonald's related, and I should tell you that I have about 10 recordings of the individual who owns the McDonald's stores in the Rochester Hills area. He's been a frequent guest in my class, and I've recorded pretty much all of the sessions he's given. So one of your assignments will be to listen to him give his first talk, 2011, and then several other talks since then, to see how things have changed for him, how he has changed as a manager, etc., franchisee, I should say. But that will be an assignment. 2 assignments will be based on listening to him give his talks. So I will open those things up early so that you can advance if you want to get that assignment done. I should also mention that you'll be able to see samples of the midterm exams and the final exams on the Moodle page. And I think this is a good thing. So as soon as you are ready and willing to look at the sample, then I say go ahead and do that. I'll provide some solutions occasionally, but effectively I will show you how I would take the test if I were you, and how I would prepare for the exams so that I will optimize my performance. I should tell you that the class usually has lots of A's, a few B's, and lots of C's. I think because the students who understand it very well will usually score A's. The students who are not understanding so well will score C's, and there's not a lot in the middle. So I get this inverse L-shaped curve for the course. It's happened for many years. I understand that that does happen. A large part of it is because there's so much extra credit that many students end up with over 100 points in the class, and therefore they automatically get a 4.0, and it's just a heavy bias towards A's, and bifurcated distribution is what I would call that. So take a look at the midterm exam to see what's going to be there. As I said, airline industry analysis, demand analysis, franchising, franchisor, franchisee problems, that kind of analysis. And then the generic demand function with coefficients that need to be interpreted, some stuff that you would have met in your statistics class that will be present, so that I'll ask you to explain the economics or to interpret economically what the coefficients mean. And hopefully your statistics professor will help you to understand statistically what the coefficients mean and what the various tests are. But this is by way of integrating knowledge from other courses into this course so that your knowledge is not in silos. Sometimes students like to learn things and then at the end of semester I can set that aside and forget it. My own preference is that all of your knowledge be integrated. So you bring the knowledge from other courses to this course, and you take the knowledge from this course to other courses so that your education is well balanced and well rounded.